Welcome to another episode of Babies from Beyond, the podcast that gives all babies a voice, whether they are still in spirit or already earthside. I'm Lauren Dionysius, a former registered NICU nurse turned baby soul communicator, and I'm here to give these babies and children a platform to share their wisdom, their messages, their insights, their perspectives, and their journey to and from the earth at this time in the world's history, the current planetary energy. And I would like to mention too, before we get going in this episode, that if you're interested, there's still another couple of days to join our little group for Connect with Confidence for this next round, where we lean into your experiences around connecting with your child, whether it's preconception and they're still in spirit or whether they're already here on the earth. The age doesn't matter. A soul is a soul, and it's learning to nourish your connection with your child and also to expand and clarify that connection as well. And we have lots of little tools and practices that we can do to support that and to help you to not only understand what that looks like for you and your child and your communication and connection abilities, but also to honor that as well and to grow that and to expand that. So if you feel called, please check out the links. I'll share them below. So as we move into today's message, I'm feeling really strongly to speak to the changing energies around the masculine when it comes to today's children and it comes to today's families. So traditionally, there has been that pressure to really provide that masculine energy for today's children. So the most common example of this is the traditional father role. And this belief that has been in society that every child needs to have a father. And while on the biological level, that is essential, right, for a child to come into the world, when it comes to the raising of a child, it's not so much about that anymore. Times are really changing because children are so much more energetically sensitive than previous. It's not just about having a father for the sake of having a father, just to tick that box or to conform to this rule in society, because times are changing. We're no longer that traditional society where it's mum, dad, 2.3 kids, a dog, and a white picket fence. We're no longer that nuclear family structure. And there's good reason for this, because when it comes to a strong structure and tradition, that doesn't always make it right, and it doesn't always make it in the best interest of the child either. So as I lean into these changing energies, it's become clear that the energy of the father is also shifting. And I want to broaden that from a father energy to a masculine energy. And while when we're talking about the energetics of the soul and we're talking about the energetics of today's children, what they need and their journey here on the earth, what they're here to learn and grow through, and also to give to the world as well. There is so much more sensitivity to the energy side of things rather than to tradition. And so the whole message with this particular episode is, how can we allow or give these children access to a safe, steady, masculine energy? And that's looking different these days. It's no longer, well, I won't say no longer, it's more, it doesn't need to be that biological father role. And I work with a lot of women who are really struggling in their relationship and often a quite toxic relationship as well. And they're like, but my child needs a father. but it's toxic to me and I'm not being treated well or I don't feel respected. These types of energies are coming up, and there's a lot of guilt that women feel around almost taking the child away from that family environment, but also from their father. But the way the energetics come through around this on the soul level, it's not about taking them away. It's about what masculine energy is healthy for a child. Having a masculine energy just for the sake of it, again, just for like ticking a box, is no good to anyone. It's no good to you, and it's no good for the child. And there's other ways for children to be exposed to a more masculine energy rather than from the biological father. So it's something to keep in mind and to lean into around this. And obviously there's no right or wrong answer. Everybody's situations, everybody's relationships, everybody's circumstances are different. And also children are different as well, and they have different needs. And for some children, yeah, they are being born into that traditional mother-father dynamic, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's these children who are exploring other ways to have a family and other ways to have a more healthy relationship with the masculine, because there is, socially, ancestrally, karmically, on a past life level, there's so much wounding around the masculine. And of course, the feminine as well. But I'm really wanting to focus in on the masculine energy for this episode. Perhaps the feminine energy will come through at another time. But I feel like with the masculine energy, there's a lot of wounding. There's a lot of pressure on men. There's a lot of unconsciousness with men. There's a lot of trauma with men. There's a lot of confusion around the masculine energy in relation to the father and the wound of the father as well. This is not to point blame or to accuse or to judge in any way. This is just looking into the collective energies around this and the needs of today's children as they come to the earth at this time. And the collective message and what I'm feeling from this masculine being who has joined us today is that there's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong way to do this. There's no good or bad. There's no judgment around this. But he's saying that today's children have different needs. They have different recognitions of what's healthy, positive, not even positive, healthy masculine energy looks and feels like, and they want to experience that. They're coming to break patterns, to break rules, and they're not wanting to repeat patterns of the family tree in this life, but also karmically, also through past lives as well, where either they themselves have been a more unsteady or unpredictable masculine energy in the lives of their children, or they've been on the receiving end of that. So I'm feeling first to talk a little bit more around an unhealthy masculine dynamic. And that is more the shadow side of the masculine, which is around being unsteady, unpredictable, unreliable, ungrounded, lacking a backbone or confidence or the ability to make a decision, lack of respect, aggression that is not given space or boundaried in some way, violence, of course, of any kind. And look, these are qualities that are not just coming from the biological male, right? We all carry the masculine, we all carry the feminine. But I'm speaking predominantly about the traditional father role here and those male role models that as a society we have believed need to be part of every child's life. But when you see or lean into these more challenging qualities of the masculine, and again, there's no judgment here, every energy has a shadow side to it. So we all have these things in different ways. to different levels and degrees, but yeah, there's no longer the need for children to have this traditional masculine energy or father figure in their life, especially if it's related to, or if it's being portrayed or being projected into the world through these qualities that I just mentioned. This is only strengthening and reinforcing old patterns that are no longer helpful and supportive for the future of this planet, and especially for this next generation. So the implications of all of this is, and again, it's obviously very individual according to different situations and experiences and souls. But what I feel from a lot of souls is that it's better for them to be in an environment without the full-time projection of these shadow masculine energies. It's better for them to be outside of that environment than it is for them to be in that 24/7 just to keep them close to their father. So it's challenging as I receive this information, because I am receiving the energies that I'm trying to translate into words. But the message is, don't put pressure on yourself. Trust your own intuition. If a relationship is not working for you, then honor that for yourself first. Because if you honor that for yourself first, it's naturally going to be the best decision for your child as well. There's never a good reason to stay in that dynamic if it's hurting you continuously, knowing that children will also be picking up on this energy as well, which does more harm than good in the long run. And again, it only reinforces the patterns in the family tree, and also past life experiences as well that children are trying to move away from. So that's one part of it. And also there's another side of this as well, where a lot more experiences are happening where we're moving away from the nuclear family. We're moving away from mum, dad, the 2.3 children and the dog. We're moving into more progressive, inclusive and supportive circumstances and families. So, a classic example of this is a solo mum by choice who decides to go through the sperm donation process to conceive, birth, and then raise a child on her own by choice. And I work with a lot of women in this situation, and they say to me, I feel so guilty that this child is not going to have a father. I feel like they're going to be missing out on something. And when I've tuned into the souls of the children who are choosing to come to these women, they don't see it that way. It's very, very different for them. It's not some kind of punishment, or it's not some kind of lack, or it's not some kind of loss for them, because these children, if they needed another situation, if they needed to have a more traditional male figure in their life, then they wouldn't choose that woman. They wouldn't put their hand up and say, yes, I'll come to you. I'll come to you. So souls always know what they're coming into. It's never a surprise for them. Some of the details, of course, of our lives and our experiences and the consequences of decisions we make or don't make, all of those things, like all of that is, that's something we journey through. But looking at the bigger picture, and especially when it comes to like our family of origin, the family we're born into, we know that those dynamics, we know those souls, we know them inside and out. We've often been watching or observing for a while before we actually take the plunge to the earth. So again, like, just to really confirm this, if you are a solo mum by choice and you're considering this journey, know that your child already knows that. they're not going to be surprised, and they're going to be okay with not having a more traditional father figure in their life. And while I'm talking about this, I'm really feeling to bring your attention to there's also other ways to bring that masculine energy into their life as well. We all need different amounts of masculine and feminine energy, and a masculine energy in a child's life. Just one way to do that is through the biological father. And as I've been talking about, that's not always healthy. It's not always what's best for you. It's not always what's best for the child. And so there's other ways, think of grandparents, think of your own friends, male friends, think of siblings, your brothers, uncles, fathers of others' children, teachers. Like there's other ways to expose your child to a healthy, steady, predictable, respectful, grounded, masculine energy than through biology, through the biological father. So there's a big collective wave at the moment of children who are coming through to help dissolve and disintegrate by first shaking up that masculine energy, especially in the father role. And this is not to judge fathers, past fathers, present fathers, future fathers at all. There's a lot of amazing fathers out there, but it's more focusing on, the individual circumstances and knowing that there's not one way around this. And in addition to the solo mum by choice, we think of same-sex couples as well. Either way, where some feel really guilty about they won't have a dad in their life. They'll have two mums, or on the opposite side, they'll have two dads but not a mum. And again, I want to be really clear that children know this. They know that this is what they're being born into. And to be honest, like when I tune into the energy when it comes to same-sex couples, these children are excited because for a lot of them, they haven't had those experiences before because society has changed and shifted so much around this, and there's much more freedom now when it comes to same-sex coupling and relationships, that there are so many souls who are wanting to have that experience. Again, this dance between masculine and feminine and how that can look different in different roles. And again, like these children they choose that. They say yes to that. They agree to that before they even conceive. So there's a lot of anticipation. There's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of exploration. There's a lot of learning, like curiosity that I feel from today's children that are being born into these, what we as society would label, out of the ordinary family units, if you like. But that's the future of these children. That's the future of the earth. We're moving towards a much more progressive, much more stable in many ways, and also much healthier way of being in relationship, whatever dynamic that looks like. So this is a big topic, and it's one that I get asked about a lot. There's a lot of different things at play here, and every soul is different, every relationship is different, every family is different. And so it's hard to generalize, but I just wanted to share today some of those themes that are coming through specifically around the masculine energy. And the need for the masculine energy is still there for all of us, but a healthy masculine energy, not just the energy for the sake of it. So I hope that helps to expand your mind a little bit and perhaps get you thinking about the masculine energies in your own life, but also your child or children's life, or your future child's life if that's where you're at. So thank you so much for tuning in to Babies from Beyond. I would love for you to leave a review if you feel called wherever you're listening to this, or a comment if you're on YouTube. And please check out my social media profiles where I share upcoming offers that are coming with Born Energy. So thank you so much for tuning in. Take care and trust your journey and your baby's journey.